Oh yeah, and you use the term liquidity event a couple of times, and for some people, it's the
Yeah.
first time they heard it. Is when you take a typically illiquid object and you extract some cash from it, and a lot of
Yes.
businesses are illiquid their entire lifespan, and unless they get acquired, unless there's an IPO, or unless even a partner dying, depending on how things are set up, is considered a liquidity event. And if you're not funded correctly, that liquidity event could be enough to break a company, right? Because let's say you have a buy sell agreement in place, but nothing to fund it. That's when things end up getting liquidated. Is there Were there no surprises? Because a lot of times people get that letter of intent, and to us, it's to me a letter of intent is the equivalent of getting a public adjuster contract signed.
Yeah.
The work you didn't just win, the work just started. Is there nothing that surprised you during the due diligence process?
So that's a great question because yeah, our letter of intent came last May, okay, and we closed 2 weeks ago. And quite frankly, they were. I mean, our letter of intent and our final deal were very, very close, right? However, getting to there was a ride, man, because they literally. When I say they, the private equity firm, they're taking a microscope to your business, which they need to because they're investing cash. People, I mean, you're talking. It's pension plans, and these are people's investments, right? They're taking that money and dumping it into your business. And man, talk about a microscope into every little nuance of your business. And I think that's what people don't understand. It's cute and fun, all these videos I make on Facebook about these big claims, right? But that's just 1 bazillionth of 1/10 of 1% of what we are, right? So surprises. I was surprised how. Man, every transaction was looked at, man. Like, hey, when you bought this Red Bull in Florida in 2026, you know what I mean? It was like I'm being a little
Yeah.
over the top, but yeah, but everything was
Yeah.
looked at, right? And it was neat looking at your business that way. I'm much smarter now than I was 6 months ago on my stuff. But yeah, as far as surprises, I was surprised. The financial part of it was the easy part. The hard part was the contractual part. As far as I have an employment agreement, right? And that was difficult because I'm an
Mhm.
entrepreneur. I do things my way. And I mean, we're keeping 95% of what I do, but I'm going to tweak that other 5%. That was the tough part. It was a lot of that moving parts and a lot of, your ego has to go away because in the day, it's all EBITDA. Like, what is your EBITDA and how can we multiply that? How can we 10 times your EBITDA in 5 years? That's what it's all about, man. So, instead of flying first class for $1,200 at noon, I may have to fly at, 8 o'clock at night for $600 now. So it's stuff like that. You have to give and take because at the end of the day, I'm an investor in my own company now. I'm an investor in the fund, right? So we have to. It's all about the bottom line, while still maintaining your integrity and your empathy, and you're running your business at the same time. So that was difficult. And negotiating the contracts were a little bit difficult because the attorney. So keep in mind, my attorney's job was protect me from everything that could ever go wrong. Their attorney's job is protect them from everything that could go wrong. So our final agreement is 186 pages long, our final contract, right?
Mm.
And it's
Mhm.
every possible worst. And you start talking about these worst case scenarios, and it's just like, well, that's never going to happen, right? Well, 1/10 of 1% chance it may, and if you don't address that in that agreement, that 1/10 of it's going to happen sooner or later to somebody, right? You just don't want to be that guy, but you have to address it. So there's some tough language in there for both of us that we have to adhere to, but that's his business, right? Because if I screw up, they need to make sure that they have a way out with me, and if they screw up, I got to have a way out. So all these things. But nobody goes in. It's like a marriage. Nobody intends to go in and screw things over. But inevitably, relationships are hard. Marriages are hard. Business is hard. Claims are hard. So you got to protect everyone's interests equally to make sure that the field is. I mean, a good deal is when it hurts a little bit for everybody, right? It's never perfect, but you got a little squeeze here and there, and you walk away shaking hands. And thank God we had a good rapport the whole time, and we had a really good attorneys on both sides getting through it, and they listened to me, and they listened the PE attorney listened to them, and that was difficult because the attorneys are there to worst case scenario, right? Like if I get hit by a truck today, what happens? Or if I get a paper cut, I mean, all these scenarios come up, and that was challenging, difficult, but learning. And the cool part is now we have a model, right? So we know what it's supposed to look like. So going forward, we could take the model that we did with our firm, and it won't be a cookie cutter. Everybody's a little bit different, right? If a guy in Florida is going to have a little bit different than a guy in Oklahoma or whatever. So we can take the foundation of these contracts we built and now put them in different spots and just tweak them a little bit. I bet hopefully the heavy lifting was done, because it was a lot. It was expensive too. I'm not going to kid you. Our attorney fees were so. People don't understand too. As I bet we're in this thing to get the deal closed. I bet we spent $350,000 to $400,000 to get it closed. That's not private equity money.